Imagine you've slaved away for years to get billions of coins worth of items on RuneScape, and then you log in one day to see that it was stolen. All of it gone. And it turns out that it was stolen by a developer for the game. They sold it for hundreds of thousands of British pounds worth of Bitcoin. Or Ethereum, because it turns out that developer really liked Ethereum, and they even integrated it into RuneScape. That's what happened to Degenerate Game on Reddit and 999-134 Pure on YouTube.
Well, holy shit guys, this has been a wild ride. And I guess thanks for some of the people who believed me in the first place.
Along with over 60 others a few years ago. And the total estimated haul is somewhere in the ballpark of $700,000 US. RuneScape developer Jagex admitted fault and, for one of the first times ever, refunded stolen property to the players affected. But now, many years later, the mod accused of the crime might be in some serious trouble after a new UK court ruling. Jagex was trying to argue that the in-game wealth falls within the definition of property and is therefore capable of being stolen. This would have been a big win against the developer that is accused of stealing the gold, Mod Jed. And if you play RuneScape, you obviously know gold has real-world value. Jagex sells RuneScape bonds for real-life money, and there was a multi-million-dollar gambling industry in RuneScape just not too long ago. But to prove this to non-RuneScape players is another thing. In a later case file, we can see there's an argument between whether or not the RuneScape gold is worth real gold, or if it's just coded data that's infinitely producible and therefore worthless. The Cambridge Crown Court dismissed the claim, ruling that in-game wealth didn't count as property. But then Jagex appealed it, and in the meantime, crypto was deemed personal property back in December of 2025, one of the first countries to call it property. And just a few months later, the court agreed that RuneScape gold does fit within the definition of stealable property. My webcam, what's wrong with my webcam? Oh, fine, we'll do some RuneScape B-roll, and then we'll get back to the video, okay? It looks so much better than my webcam. Why do we even bother with this stupid thing? This video is sponsored by BootDev because training your skills doesn't need to be tedious or boring. For a fraction of the cost and sanity, they teach you back-end web development from start to finish, mastering Python, SQL, and Go. It speaks our language. It takes that rush of progression we get from RuneScape and applies it to coding. You can earn XP, unlock achievements, and actually enjoy the grind. Plus, they offer a 30-day no questions asked refund policy if you decide it's not for you. I genuinely believe this is a great resource. I highly recommend them for leveling up your technical skills. So go to boot.dev and use code KEMPQ to get 25% off your entire first year on the annual plan. And many thanks to BootDev for sponsoring these productions. The ruling means that if he's found guilty, Mod Jed is alleged to have stolen $700,000 worth of RuneScape property. But now Bitcoin is a lot more regulated and worth a lot more than it was in August of 2018. So that same amount of Bitcoin is worth over $7 million. So to understand why this court ruling is so huge, we have to go back to 2018. If you played old school RuneScape back then, the name Mod Jed might send a shiver down your spine. Jed wasn't just a developer. He was a guy with deep ties to the high stakes PvP community and Reign of Terror. There was a dark side. Players started noticing that their unhackable accounts with top tier security and authenticators were getting cleaned out. We're talking about billionaire tier accounts. And as it turns out, Jed wasn't just guessing passwords. According to the allegations, he was using his admin powers to bypass the system entirely. Actually, not even his own powers. He was alleged to have been using his coworkers' permissions in account recovery in order to approve account recovery requests that he had submitted for accounts. So these people that were his coworkers, they were getting in trouble because all of these things that they had approved were falsely flagged and they were going to lose their jobs. And he, in the meantime, was profiting and selling the gold for Bitcoin, allegedly. Now, you might be thinking, Kemp, if he stole $700,000 8 years ago, why isn't he in a jumpsuit already? Well, the legal battle has been a circus. At one point, Jed actually won a small legal victory against Jagex, and he won it because of a big oopsie by a lawyer on Team Jagex. Basically, during the early stages of the legal drama, someone at Jagex or their legal team accidentally sent a highly sensitive email to the wrong person. Specifically, they sent it to Jed's side. Because of this screw up, a court actually ordered Jagex to pay Jed's legal fees for that portion of the case. It was a facepalm moment for the ages. And for a second there, it looked like the guy who had allegedly robbed the bank was getting the bank to pay for his defense. Wait a second here. Oh, I just realized something. Jagex spent a year appealing to the court that RuneScape gold is stealable property. But whenever players complained about the duel arena, which was basically a giant unregulated casino where kids were losing thousands of dollars, Jagex would shrug. In 2019, they literally told the UK Parliament that in-game items have no legally recognized value, and they used this logic to protect their revenue streams and say that RuneScape wasn't addictive. They ignored the fact that people were spending rent money or staking their car titles on gold because, on paper, the gold was worthless. I see what you're doing, Jagex. Very sneaky. So if Jagex is trying to retroactively argue that gold was stealable property in 2018 up to 2026 for the case against Mod Jed, I guess it must have just been that specific day in 2019 that RuneScape gold wasn't worth anything. So you got me this time, Jagex. Well played. However, it does seem that Jagex is covering their own heinies here with this line in their appeal. Any attempt to real-world trade is a serious breach of a player's agreement with Jagex. Jagex does not recognize any attempted transfer of accounts or virtual items outside of the game environment. So they don't recognize it unless it's stolen from them. Oh, stolen accounts will always be returned to the original owner. Oh, okay, they're comedians now. But who knows if this will set any kind of legal precedent. It might give the UK Gambling Commission some ammo if any gambling mechanisms ever come back to RuneScape. But in Jagex's removal of microtransactions just in January, maybe it will never haunt them in the future. But if the UK Gambling Commission does ever knock on Jagex's door, it may be wise for Jagex reps to know who you're dealing with. This is kind of an open letter to Jagex about Kick, an organization that you've recently partnered with to put on an event with OTK. Kick is owned by the same owners of Stake, and Kick's monetization model is unsustainable and very obviously fueled with gambling money. Not only that, but they have a history of unethical business practices. Most recently, they've been paying people to steal clips and repurpose them with the Stake logo on top.
Clips that are completely out of context, put some words on a screen that aren't at all what's happening in the situation, and they put a Stake logo on the bottom so they can get paid out from Stake clips. Every Stake clip that comes across my For You page, or if you guys see any out of context Stake clips, please send them to me, because I will not only have them taken down, I will be sued.
I showed the clips in the last video, and the video got age restricted because of how many people have been trying to spam YouTube with the Stake logo because they're paid for it. They've been stealing clips, putting a Stake logo on, and then just uploading them to YouTube. So I can't show those. I don't want to get age restricted again, but I have been preparing future videos on exposing Kick and Stake, so bear with me on those. Also, kids were able to gamble on Stake by uploading pictures of anything for ID verification, from a packet of Strepsils to Thor Odinson. Also, Stake's beginnings are literally from RuneScape's Duel Arena, where the owners converted Duel Arena addicts to their first original gambling website, which was Prime Dice. It's a little weird if Jagex affiliates themselves with the owners of Kick and Stake. And a few more facts before we wrap up. Mod Jed is said to have changed his name so that he can get another job because he's so infamous on the internet now. He's also rumored to have moved to Argentina, but given these UK court proceedings still taking place, it looks like he'll have to at least be in the UK for a while longer. The last time I ever heard from Jed was in fact in the UK in person because he crashed RuneFest 2018, much to the, I don't know how to put this. Basically, the other mods hated it, but he was there. He kind of just crashed the party. I talked to him in person along with a few other ROT members. They gave this aura of pleasantness and kindness, but I could tell there was something else going on there too. And anyway, what Mod Jed said to me was that he was framed. So I just wanted to put his defense out there for the public to hear about it. Now, whether or not you believe that is another thing, but here's what I think about the new court ruling right here. So anyway, that's enough from me. Bye-bye.